The Ottomans have seen the back of the Swiss a couple of times, and we're into game 4 in Alicante 2025 as the Swiss take the field yet again, this time against a slightly less, or much less mounted opponent in the form of a Burgundian Ordonnance army, but a rather unusual Burgundian Ordonnance army as well. This was another one where I got caught out by making an assumption about what would be in the list and being wrong. I thought it'd be a fairly sort of tightly packed, heavy metal, spearmen, crappy pikemen, few sort of averagey knights, that kind of textbook Burgundian stuff. But when it was deployed, I really didn't expect this Yorkist ally that sat right in the middle of the table, as you'll see, that had 4 more longbow sword, that actually made this an 8 longbow army with a couple of pikes and pole arms and foot knights. So 8 longbows, another pikeman, another foot knight, that's 9, 10, another 2 there, 11, 12, plus 3 more knights there, 15, which was quite a lot of shooting, which I really wasn't expecting. So let's see how this all set up. Pretty good open terrain for me. This is almost a gap exactly as wide as all of my pikemen, so my strategy is not that rocket sciencey, really, is it? It's just line them all up next to each other, pile forwards, pile into whatever I hit. And I guess I was sort of expecting the army to stop here and just be this much of sort of high quality mixed stuff, but all of those shooters was quite a lot. You've got a field there, you've got the marsh there that I didn't really expect anybody to put anything into. Marshes are difficult terrain, so that's a bit tricky, but as it was, they had so many longbowmen they extended into there anyway, and that assumption that no one would go in there versus this sort of foresty thing, my thought was to put the medium polearm guys on this side to push through this forest, give myself an extra bit of kind of overlap power here, fight a battle with all the pikemen here, and work on the assumption that nothing really would come through here of any note, so that the one halberdier on that side and a couple of lightfoot would be able to hold them off. So completely slightly wrong-footed by this enormous amount of longbowmen. Let's see how this all develops. So there they go. What a beautiful sight that is, isn't it? That's just a line of Swiss advancing across the table. I wonder if I can do that. There we go. Advancing. How about that? It's all action. This is almost live video here as the Burgundians and their Yorkist allies just sit and wait. And there they are, sitting and waiting. They've sent a few light horse forward. There's a couple of light foot that have appeared out of that wood. No surprise, but I've got quite a lot of troops to try and deal with them. And potentially these light horse might get caught. They can always evade through the knights, but they might get caught. It's a possibility of doing something clever there. And this is a nice, tidy, solid line waiting to get into shooting range. And with its couple of blocks of lightfoot, 2 there and 2 there, having a lot to do to keep the shooting away from the pikemen before they get in, because the other 2 really do have to get engaged in this wood to help clear out the enemy elite lightfoot as well. So what happens here? I start to form the classic Swiss echelon. This bit advances a little bit further forward. I want to sort of tempt the knights to do something. It's how close can I get with all these different bits of shooting. As you see, I've probably drifted a light foot over there to cover whatever was coming through this marsh in this field, and we're just closing in on this textbook mix thing of polearm guys and dismounted knights with longbows in between, who are just starting to get into range and open up on the Swiss. So what happens here is the Swiss charge in. The commander, the embedded brilliant commander, has managed to fight against a longbow swordsman, which is great. He's managed to take 3 hits. He's been shot up on the way in. He's an elite pikeman. There's only 2 people to protect the frontage of all of these pikemen out of my light foot. So he's unfortunately taken a fair few hits and then thought, sod it, he's going in. He's normally factor 2, he's general factor 3, he's elite, he's injured factor 2. He'll take on these 3 hitter guys and do that, and it's not really working out very well for him at all. 3 hits, he's at death's door immediately. So what carries on here? I've crunched into the middle, but hitting 1, 2, 3 supposedly squishy units, I've lived with taking overlaps at either end just to get into them and just sort of try and push through them. The knights are pinned by the rest of them. My halberdiers are pushing through, trying to dislodge these elite firearm guys out of the wood. And over here you've seen the longbowmen just rush out through that marsh, through that field. I presume they probably chased off my halberdier by now. And these guys, the rest of the pikemen are sort of getting ready, but but they are going to be overlapped when they go in. But even so, crappy pike, I'm better than this thing, should be better than this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things which I'm in theory better than. And then these three, the knights daren't really charge them just yet, and I'm working up a good position here. Should be okay. But look at this, there's 2 hits there from shooting. They've taken a hit. He's at death's door. There's a couple of other things hit there. So there are some casualties mounting up. And bosh, there they go. The pikemen do the business. They go through the longbowmen, crush them there. This guy is still fighting. This longbow has done very well, and this dismounted knight type has knocked a hole in my pikeman as well, which is probably the worst place possible if you're my brilliant general. These guys have still not quite dared to charge the knights. They don't think they need to because the halberdiers might be coming around the edge, and the halberdiers are fighting a pretty desperate struggle to try to clear these tough Lightfoot superior, Lightfoot elite are very difficult to get out of difficult terrain. So what's happened here? Well, let's have a quick look back and see where that was. So this guy has slid across here to engage this guy. It looks like this one may have actually slid across back the other way. Yeah, so he slid into combat from a corner to corner position to allow him to take on the knight and deny the knight impact, because if you conform, it's counted as continuing combat. There's no impact factors. The Lightfoot rush through to provide overlaps. They're safe. There's nothing here that's going to chase them away. So that's quite a cute way. Gives me a reserve there as well. This guy is just starting to push through, so everything here is in real trouble, but there's still some hits kind of picking up here, and there's still hits going on. The pikemen have not really got through at all. They're struggling, and they're doing some damage to the knights here, but there's some losses mounting up. The general's now finally got some support. He's a little bit safer. Everyone else has come in to join him. And boom, finally, through sheer force of kind of will, he pushes his way through and does that. And then the halberdier has got round as well. I think that's the buttock bearing guy. Yeah, that's his buttocks. Coming in, chewing up all of these knights who are just still, the last few of them are hanging on. But there's a huge concentration of force here, crushing these 3 knights and then all these longbowmen. But again, there's a couple of holes starting to appear here in this line. And these have got 2 markers, they've got 2 markers, a few hits there as well. We've got the longbowmen running somewhere amuck in the backfield. In fact, look, there they go. They're just going straight for the baggage. They've chopped up my halberdiers. They're about to chop up one of my handgunners, and my poor baggage is very much at their mercy. They've just decided to go a looting, really. And yep, there they are. They've chased. Unfortunately, they chased at my Lightfoot, who managed to catch him, which is going to put them straight into the baggage when they get some extra distance. The other guys have turned around to go back, and that unfortunately was the problem. They went into my baggage. They did so much damage on this side of the table. Let's have a look back at this. A couple of things. So this side of it, I suffered so many holes in what is still a pretty small army that, with the loss of the baggage at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Probably a couple gone there, 10, 11, 12, 13, a few other bits, that one, 14, 15. Unfortunately, my army just faltered and just ran out of steam with the baggage gone, with the Lightfoot getting hit and other people getting caught. Very close, nearly ran over them, but just the sheer weight of shooting and the damage it did and the loss of the baggage that I really could do nothing about, ended the game, and these guys suffered, unfortunately, yet another loss.